We talk a lot about putting AI in our products and for our customers, but I think the transformation of internal transformation that AI is having, at least at Ramp, is I've never seen anything like it.
Wow.
And I think it's way more powerful, or at least evident, than the stuff that goes out into our product.
Interesting.
We've now 5x'd the amount of time that designers spend with customers directly.
Hi everybody, this is Tetsuro from Off Topic. We're here for another episode of our video interview series. Today I'm super excited to be here at the offices of Ramp with Diego. Diego, thank you for having us over at your office.
Yeah, thanks for coming. This is exciting.
And this is the New York headquarters.
New York headquarters, that's right.
And how long has the office been around for?
Ramp's been around for just over 6 years now. We moved to this office maybe a year and a half, almost 2 years now.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And can you, for people who don't know, can you give a quick introduction about yourself and then what Ramp is?
Sure. So I'm Diego. I run the product design and brand teams here at Ramp. For those that don't know, Ramp is a corporate card, expense management, financial operations. So I guess the easiest thing to remember is if you've ever done an expense report, it was probably awful, and we're trying to make that go away.
Right. But I think a lot of people think of Ramp only as a corporate card, but you do a lot more beyond that as well.
Right. There's so much more to finance. We're basically rebuilding the suite of the CFO. So similar to how Salesforce changed the CRO and how Amazon, AWS kind of changed the DevX and the CTO suite. We're doing the same thing for finance. So we started off with a corporate card, moved on to expenses, then accounts payable, travel, treasury. We've expanded into all these new places.
And what does it mean to be the VP of design, to be in charge of the brand team? What does that mean?
Well, it's a really interesting place to be because the product that we build and the story that we tell, so it's the thing we do and the brand that we build are one and the same. And in a lot of places, there might be some tension between these two teams. Brand is usually in marketing, and then they're trying to figure out how to make brand stuff, and then the product team is trying to make product stuff, and they don't work together. Here, the goal is we live by our products and we live by the story that we tell, and that's what we've had success. So design has been core to the culture of Ramp from the beginning, and we've always had the goal to build a product and brand that people love in a space that people hate.
Right. Because a lot of people don't like the expense reports.
No, and hate is such a powerful emotion to latch onto with people. If you can turn someone and just surprise them with something that they just expect to be horrible,
right,
and just delight them, they'll remember that.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And I think one of the really interesting things about Ramp is that you're very conscious about time equals money.
Yes.
Right, and saving the time and the money for. But this is very different from maybe some of the existing corporate cards, right? Where they're focused on rewards, doing all that stuff, keeping you on site on the platform. Can you talk about kind of the different philosophies that you guys have?
So there's a couple things. I'll take a little step back and tell you a little story of when we launched Ramp. This is February 2020, mid-February, and 2 weeks later, New York shut down because of COVID.
Right.
If anyone remembers that. So it was a huge deal. Any business, everyone was asking, I don't know if I'm going to make another sale. In 1 month, in 6 months, a year, how long this is going to be. I don't know how much money I have, how much runway I have, and if I'm going to have any revenue over the next, how long, I don't know. So we had placed the bet early on that we believe that $1 in your bank account is worth more than 100 points in some weird account.
Right.
As the pandemic hit, we saw that validated by our customers. And immediately the thing of, I need to know where my money's going. I need to make sure it's going to the right places. I need to make sure I can keep paying my employees. that was the thing that like really helped us take off.
Interesting.
Because we had this insight that people want to build great businesses, that people want to be disciplined, that people want to just operate in a really good way and do right by their business.
Right.
So I think it's been a foundational principle of ours of we're not going to compete in like race to the bottom of how can we devalue points without you noticing.
Right.
It's really about, hey, we keep it straight, we give cash back, but our core benefit that we give customers is just time back.
Right. And time is such a luxury now as well, right? You're being constantly inundated with calls.
It's the only thing you cannot buy.
Right.
And it's extremely easy to waste. There's a saying that time is the most valuable thing man can waste. It's incredibly it's incredibly true. So we truly live by that. Like we actually measure time of, okay, what are the most painful processes, the most time-consuming things that a business has to do on a daily basis, that an employee at that company has to do?
Right.
How can we make that go away entirely? How do we make it so that they're not interacting with these things? That translates into our product, translates into our principles and our KPIs and our metrics and how we measure success. As in, we don't want people using our product. And it's kind of a very naive way of framing it, but every second that an employee is using Ramp is a second they're not doing their job, is a second they're not chasing a customer, is a second they're not designing something. So I actually don't want those people using my product. So we track engagement going down, we track hours going down. We know exactly how much time people are spending on our platform.
Right.
We know where those places are, and like every day we are trying to reduce the amount of time and engagement that we have.
What's an example of a change that you made either in the feature or a new product that had that incremental change?
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot that we're doing right now with AI. AI is like a cheat code for this stuff because it's literally we have now computers that can do work. Like they could see, they could listen, they can reason, and that means they can actually do work and they can scale the time that we put into something. So an example of this. Very recent is on Ramp when, if you're a manager, you have reports and those reports go and spend money on stuff. And then you have to review those expenses before they go to the finance team. We now have an agent, an AI agent that checks the policy across every single expense and simply skips the ones that are fine.
Right.
And just presents the 2 or 3 that require some more attention, whether because we didn't have enough context or because they're slightly out of policy, but maybe it makes sense. So part of the philosophy is assuming good intent from people. It's not like, hey, you're clearly defrauding the company. Those are actually quite rare. And what we found is that most companies, before Ramp, they're optimizing to stop that bad actor versus optimizing to enable the 99% of the time, which is people acting in the company's best interest.
There's so much focus on exceptions after exceptions.
Well, that's the painful part.
Right.
I had $50, I don't have $50. Like that's very obviously bad to me.
Yeah.
But if it took me 10 hours to stop those $50 from disappearing, like my time is a lot more valuable than $50.
Yes.
So it's kind of a mindset shift of how much do you actually value your own time, and how much do you value your employees' time, because there is an actual number to that. And
this kind of disappearing interface that that you've talked about. Can you talk a little bit more deeply about what this means, and is this right for every company? Is this right because it's Ramp?
I mean, I think it's very right for us because it is our core mandate.
Right.
There's there's a lot of people who think about design and love design who are listening to this. So I think one of the things that keeps coming up in all these AI products is well, what does it look like? What is it? What is it? It's always a chat for some reason.
Yes. Should it always be a chat?
No, I think conversational UI it has to be a very strict usage because it's very rarely much more effective than a button. Describing what you want to do versus just presenting the thing with an action is just a lot faster. Just click it once and I'm done. But there are certain things that are extremely non-deterministic, that's really great to have conversational UI. So we have, over past couple of years, like really stress tested this idea of what is conversational UI, when do we show it, when does it make sense? And it didn't really make sense beyond like a couple of very simple use cases. But now it's actually changed. And when we talk about the design and the UI for AI, I think the chat thing is awesome and it's great for some examples, but I think the challenge is how do you then manage a workforce of millions of agents? How do you check the work that they've done? How do you show people, one, the value that you've created for them?
Right.
Because if they don't know, if a tree falls in the forest and no one's around, it's like we don't know if it actually did anything. So you have to show that work. You have to have them review the work and intervene in the areas where they need to. So I actually think that's a much more interesting UX challenge than anything else.
Right.
So how do you train and manage these people? It's almost like you onboard a new employee, you give them tools and you teach them the ways of the company and like who to talk to and who knows what and who buried all the skeletons in the company. Like you kind of need to do that. So when people ask like, well, what does it look like? What's the UI? It's like, well, generally it's just a recommendation. Like the magic happened in the background.
Right.
And because I don't want you spending time on ramp, I don't want you to experience it either. You can dig into it if you want, but the outcome is just, this expense looks good. Or you should review this because of X, Y, and Z reasons.
Everything behind the scenes makes all the adjustments, and then the final, whatever decision you have to make, it gets presented. This is interesting because we were at the 8 Sleep offices the other day, and they mentioned a somewhat similar kind of idea of this kind of disappearing interface where they make the bed makes all the adjustments, and the final kind of thing is up to the user. But can you talk about like this? Probably doesn't make sense for everybody, though, right?
I don't think it does. I think there's some core AI products where it's like all the like prompt builders, like you have a starting point. I don't know if conversational is the continuing thing. So companies like Cursor and Lovable and all these ones, they have like point to interact with. I know Figma is working on the next versions of Figma Make, where you bring it back to the canvas and you iterate in the canvas and then you go back and forth. So it's this like iterative thing of I can talk when I'm not sure and get guidance, but when I know, just get out of my way and let me do the thing. So there's a switch back and forth. So I think if you're only doing one, there's very rare use case for you, but you kind of have to do both.
Right. And how much of this does this change, Ramp's kind of design and UI UX from when you first started? Does this change kind of everything? This like, how much does this affect the?
Well, so AI specifically, I don't think has changed fundamentally what we do and how we do it. And that might be like a spicy take because it is a fundamental shift on how to think. So it does change what we build.
Right. But the workflow itself of like
but we've always
expenses doesn't change.
Exactly. But well, no, more than that, it's like what we're trying to do is not just is not like adding AI to something isn't the only way to make something disappear. So we've been trying to make this stuff disappear the entire time that we've been a company. So there's things like a very well-placed email that feel super smart, but there's no LLM behind it. It's just like very good design. So when you, for example, forward an email from your personal email to your work email to forward a receipt to Ramp, we email your personal one from Ramp to say, hey, you don't have to do this anymore. You can just add your personal email to Ramp and you can just forward directly. So stuff like that, where it just feels really magical. So we actually had one of our first principles when like the world went AI crazy, when ChatGPT came out. We're here to build magic. Not like AI is one of the ways in which we can deliver that magic and that delight. But it's one of the tools that we can use.
I remember when you, on a different podcast, you said when you first joined Ramp, you had this, when you were looking at the product, you kept wanting to minimize, which seems to be very core with it aligns with Ram's philosophy. Was that alignment coincidental, or was there kind of like an intentional? Did you like talk to Eric and Kareem about it and about it beforehand?
It was very intentional. I think one of the key reasons I joined, besides really liking the team, was just hating expense reports so much. I never wanted to do this again. I am out thousands of dollars from previous jobs because I just didn't do it. I didn't want to. It was too painful to go through these things.
Right.
As a designer, like I can rarely enjoy software, and like this was extra bad.
Right.
So I just wanted this to go away entirely. It was kind of like a personal vendetta against this kind of software.
So when the founders approached you to start talking about it, you were like, "This is it," or?
I mean, this is like the thing of like you build something in a space that people hate so much. Like, you get a lot of energy from people.
Right. Yeah. Then that energy translates into some of the velocity that that Ramp has. Can you talk a little about that culture of velocity here?
Yeah, I think talent and velocity are the two real moats that any company has. Especially now, like anyone can just build anything.
Right.
I think for us, it's been a core principle and a core like cultural thing is how we move fast, how we structure the company to move fast. This is building very small teams, empowering them and giving them like full autonomy to do what they need to do.
Right.
And regardless of level, like we look at what you've done at the company, what impact you've brought. Excuse me, not your experience, not your historical, not all your cachet, all your stuff. You come to Ramp day zero, you build, and you just earn. So you find people who we let people make decisions. If they make good ones, we let them make even more. If they make bad ones, we let them do less decisions. So it's always about moving decisions forward and about moving quickly. So we'll have junior designers who are owning a product as big as Expedia, for example.
Right.
So our travel product was actually designed and launched by Amanda, who is at the time was a junior.
Wow.
Almost by herself. Like obviously, as a junior, you're expected to get a lot more support from the rest of the team, but at Ramp, like you get the opportunity to actually lead something like that. But I think giving people the opportunity to do something that they're passionate about and just follow through is the most important thing. Like the stunt that we just did with Brian.
That was incredible, by the way.
Yeah, it's amazing. That started with one person saying, "Hey, I want to do a stunt. I want to do something awesome." Like we started the idea of the box, and like we all like yes and, and more people got to it, and like it became this thing.
I mean, what is the process there? Because there's do you have fail safes? Like what is the process of actually building that out into a big project or a product?
Well, one of the things that I think is very important at Ramp is that we always chase momentum, not the roadmap. So we have plans and things that we want to achieve over the quarter, over the year. We know what those are, those big rocks that we want to achieve. We try to find what are the little embers that people are excited about, and how do we give those things oxygen. And so the entire company is geared towards finding those things and actually helping them. So I will jump in to pretty much any project at any level, say, okay, this is interesting, you're interested in it. How can I help? How can my context, how can my knowledge make this even better? And so we're all jumping into projects with a yes and attitude. And another principle here is like feedback is a gift. So we try to get feedback as often and from as many people as possible. Then it's our job to decide like what feedback we listen to, which feedback we don't, we decide to override or not. And then when we present a decision, we are farming for disagreement, not for alignment. So this is what I'm doing. Here's why. Does anyone disagree? And if you disagree in what parts of it, let's talk about that. What am I missing?
Right.
I apply the feedback and I keep going. But the decision came forward. It wasn't, how do we decide this thing? Let's all talk about it and align and agree and like meeting about the meeting. And like that's where culture dies.
Got it. And how do you, there has to be at least some sort of alignment in terms of like the direction you're headed. Is that the big kind of pillars that you talked about, and everybody you trust everybody to kind of build things to go that way, or is is it your job to kind of like figure like which one to prioritize or not?
Yeah, there's a finite number of hours that everyone has to to work. So yeah, prioritization is extremely important. Again, we prioritize things in a more of in a fuzzier way than most companies. I don't think we are chasing metrics on a regular basis.
It's hard to create the right metric for the Brian's office.
There's no metric on that. It's like, hey, I think we cracked 100 million impressions on it.
Right.
We were hoping for 60. Like it kind of made this stuff up, but it depends on the level of maturity of the product, level of maturity of the pod that's working on it. Our core spend management product has product market fit. It works really well. People love it.
Right.
We don't have to blow it up every day. If we wanted to, we could, but I don't think it's a great idea. Right. However, if you have a new bet, you should be able to blow that up every day and just do it incorrectly, do it again, delete the code base and start over anytime you need.
Right.
So it just depends what side of the spectrum you're on and how much product market fit do you actually have to say, like, I actually need to go from like just creation and experimentation to protection and expansion, which is like two different ways of operating.
You just mentioned the pod. Like what is the pod and
so product design engineering together and data. Generally we have like very small teams, so one design lead, one product lead, one engineering lead, data lead, and then they have partners across product marketing, partnerships, operations, sales and legal and all that.
So it's intentionally a very small team.
Yes. So I think it depends on which side of the spectrum you're on. When you have an established product, the decisions every quarter are, here's all the things, all the gaps we know, here's all the things we want to do. We can do it in this much time. If we have more resources, we'll do it in this much time. The other side of the spectrum is a lot less about like, hey, we need more resources for stuff. And it's, what are the outcomes that we're trying to achieve?
Right.
And so you need a much smaller team to chase outcomes, and you need a much bigger team to just deliver at scale.
Right. What do you mean when you say, you said this on several podcasts, I think before as well, about being right 52% of the time?
Yeah. Well, it's, I think that the role of a designer and the role of anyone who's building something is to build as many variants and as many things as possible to learn as quickly as possible. The reason we're obsessed with velocity is because if something takes very little time, it's okay to be wrong. If it took you a very long time and you're still wrong, it's now very high risk.
Right.
So every day that you spend working on something, the risk increases. So we try to do two things, which is one, reduce the blast radius of people being wrong. So you have access to one customer or 50 or 50,000. You can kind of pick what you want and what you want to learn, what kind of questions you have.
Right.
And the other thing is just make it less expensive to try new things, to actually build new things, to take new bets. And so the goal is, and it's advice for anyone who's like wants to build stuff, it's just like try to get as many things done as quickly as possible. Even if they're not great, that's okay, because you'll learn immediately why it's not great.
Right.
And then you'll be out of your own head.
Right.
And you'll learn from actual reality, and the next day you can improve that.
Right. Make failure fast and cheap, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I think, so I think a lot of startups tend to do that at the very beginning, but a lot of, companies as they scale, it becomes harder and harder to do that. Processes become formalized, but I think at Ramp, you've managed to keep that culture, but also somewhat formalize the process as well. Can you talk a little bit about what that process looks like?
Yeah, so we've tried to introduce as little process as possible. It's very important. Again, time, right? Every minute you spend in a meeting is probably a minute you're not building. So like, how do we reduce the time? We're not perfect. There's still way too many meetings. There's still too many Slack messages. There's too much. But when you go too far on the other end of process, then you have like just risk mitigation as your core.
Right.
The thing that you're optimizing for versus like reward maximization.
Right.
So we're operating on the reward maximization framework more than risk minimization. So when you have processes, why do you do that? Is because, well, we don't want to make the same mistakes over and over again, so we will put process in place.
Right. And I think as companies become bigger, there's more to lose, quote unquote, right? At least that's how a lot of people feel.
Yeah, definitely. Like people want to be right at big companies all the time, and they need to show that they're right all the time, and they can't be wrong.
Yeah.
And that's a huge problem because we're still going to be wrong.
Right. Yeah.
It just looks bad, and you lose your job, or you don't get the promotion, or whatever, or you simply don't do anything.
Right. Or you just take a long time to admit the failure. Yeah. That makes sense.
By then you've been promoted, moved to a different org, and done the thing, and like a thing never worked.
Yeah. And then you just repeat the same thing over and over again.
Fail forward.
Yes. Okay. So you've mentioned that RAMP has switched from a common system of punishing failure and rewarding being right to rewarding making decisions quickly. Do you think this works for most or all companies, or is this very unique to RAMP?
I think it's very unique to RAMP. Like this is definitely one of the. I mean, I've never seen a place like this before, and I think it's on purpose. Like we've all learned a lot of really hard lessons of hyperscaling. We don't want to repeat those things. So we've seen companies hire too fast and just go nuts, and then they have layoffs, and then they have just a bunch of like underperforming people who just want to be right and like kind of protect themselves and build little kingdoms and little things to like protect themselves. So we're trying to avoid a lot of these mistakes that we've seen firsthand, and we've made. Like I've made those mistakes before. So very humbly saying, I don't have all the answers. I don't know how to build this company, and like, great, my process is not going to work.
Right.
Therefore, I need to figure it out on the go.
Right. You need to fail fast, and
Exactly.
you need to figure things out.
Yeah, like we constantly try new processes.
Right.
This isn't just on the product, like shipping code and design. It's on the company itself.
Interesting.
We change how we do crit in design constantly. We change how we organize ourselves constantly, because process is not bad inherently, but it only, like it's not static either. It either doesn't work or it works, and like you try to find that balance, but it's only there for like a little bit of time, and you have to like adjust constantly and balance it.
Right.
If you think you set up a process and you've nailed it, a week later it's probably outdated and it needs some tweaks.
And so internally, is that, does the kind of iteration come from you? Does it come from everybody in the team? Like, how does that come about?
Well, we try to let the people who are closest to the ground make those decisions.
Because they go through the process.
Yeah, exactly. You go through the process every day, and like, is crit working for you? And you just try to build 5 things, and the crit didn't work, and we didn't catch something, and we didn't see it, and like someone else came in the last minute and told you something that would have been awesome to know a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
So we're constantly iterating on that, and the super interesting part, kind of coming back to AI, is like we talk a lot about putting AI in our products and for our customers, but I think the transformation of like internal transformation that AI is having, at least at RAMP, is like I've never seen anything like it.
Wow.
And I think it's way more powerful, or at least evident, than the stuff that goes out into our product.
Interesting. Can you talk a little bit more about what that looks like?
So, of course, like we've now like 5x'd the amount of time that designers spend with customers directly. We've done that through building. We have AI data analysts that will find you the right people to talk to based on the questions that you have. We have an AI research analyst that is going to comb through the hundreds of recorded calls that we have, tell you who's done research about something, what was that research, where did so you get that information, you get the customers you want to talk to, you get an AI research assistant that is going to turn those 2 things into a research plan. Our research team, actual humans, will help you then. like elevate that and take it to the next
Right.
level, bring it to actual customers, and calls just show up in your calendar.
Wow.
So the cost of talking to a customer went from you needed like 3-4 hours per half-hour call
Right.
to I spend maybe an hour and a half and I get 20 calls
Right.
in my calendar. So
That's
that
incredible.
is the thing of like, yes, AI plays a very big role in that. It's not the only thing,
Right.
but it has unlocked a lot.
Right. And so the same philosophy you have that you face with your customers of saving time and money for them, you're doing internally
Yeah.
yourselves. So another aspect I wanted to ask about was you've mentioned before about your relationship with Jeff Charles, Ramp's VP product, as being very complementary. Some people in the design space don't want to work with PMs, but maybe it's just because they haven't worked with great PMs before. What is your relationship with Jeff, and what advice would you give to designers who are trying to work and find good product managers?
I think people who are builders, doesn't matter what their titles say, they're going to build stuff. They're going to make problems go away. They're going to figure out ways to do stuff. Like Jeff is a builder through and through. I'm a builder through and through, and like that is why it works so well together. We try to replicate that between our product managers and our designers and our engineers. I think more and more the roles blend. We have designers writing code, writing specs. We have PMs making prototypes, getting in front of customers. We have engineers just building ideas directly.
Right.
So eventually all these roles will just merge into just like a builder. We just have different strengths.
Right.
So Jeff, for example, is a person that can break down how you get somewhere step by step. I can't do that, but I can tell you where I want to go.
Right.
So those two things are very complementary.
Got it.
So if you're looking for a good PM partner, I'd just say like, just can they build? Do they build?
Right.
Because their role has changed quite a bit. And I don't think it, I mean, it's definitely not done changing. We don't know what the future of product management looks like.
Right.
There's a lot more prototyping, there's a lot more designing, there's a lot more writing and thinking than there is project managing.
Right.
So at least at Ramp, we try to optimize for people who build and for people who just want to put stuff out into the world.
Right. And how much has your role changed as Ramp has scaled, and also as the technology that you use has constantly evolved?
Well, my role personally has changed a lot. I went from being the person who designs all of the things to the person who helps everyone else design the things.
Right.
And that's just the nature of scaling, of the opportunity that we have ahead, and how you are able to just scale design.
Right.
But the thing that hasn't changed is this obsession with time, the obsession with simplicity. It's just I've had to learn how to work through others,
Right.
how to nudge people
Right.
into things rather than jump in Figma and do it myself.
Right.
Which it took me a while to learn
Yeah.
how to actually get your ideas across without having to do them yourself. Because again, builder, I would just do the thing.
Right. And without forcing someone to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And again, if you want to have a culture of empowerment, a culture of fostering decision making and ownership, it's really hard to feel like an owner of something when someone else told you what to do.
Definitely. So we're running out of time. So a few last questions. Is there a designer or a piece of artwork, design, architecture, creative work, whatever it is, that you keep coming back to for inspiration?
Yeah, I mean, there's two ads that keep coming back.
Okay.
There's a Volkswagen Beetle ad that it's a very small car, and it says live below your means. And I think just the simplicity of the layout, the simplicity of the words, and the message. Actually, the message really resonates with Ramp specifically.
Yep.
But just this idea of distilling something so complex into one image with like a couple of words and just having an iconic ad that literally like, I don't know, like 60 years later is still like one of the best ads ever written.
Wow.
Like that thing it comes back to. And then a very similar ad is a Porsche ad. And they simply put all the results, like first place of Le Mans, like the first 10 places of Le Mans is like Porsche, 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 McLaren, Porsche, Porsche. And the thing just says, nobody's perfect. And that, I mean, how do you bring humor and delight into something?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen the ad, but I can imagine it, and I laugh just hearing it.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's such a simple thing. So those two things together kind of remind me, it's simplicity. It's just like being a human and just having fun with it and like bringing humor into what you do.
Incredible.
I think like you can't beat someone who's having fun at what they do.
Right.
You can't compete with them.
Last two questions very quickly. Can you talk quickly about the ramp counts the number of days?
Yeah.
Can you talk about what that means and why that's important?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people ask, like, what's the secret? What's the thing that Ramp does that, like, will help us grow? Like, we talk and advise founders, and we meet a lot of founders through Ramp. The secret is literally just you show up every day and you do the basic things really well. It's like the ugly, simple truth.
Yes.
There's probably a 1% of things that you do that are differentiated and loud and whatever, but like, everyone's focused on that 1%. Like, how do I get that 1%? When actually the 99% of what you need to do is just the basics and get them well. So that's what we count the days, because like every day you need to show up. You need to do the best for that day.
Right.
Every day you reset. You're gonna have to do the best for that day. And when you count days, when you're obsessed with time, like if something takes a week, why can't it take a day?
Right.
What if it took a day?
Right.
And like that's always the question that we have.
Makes sense. So last question, in a few words or adjectives, how would you describe Ramp?
Call it like beautiful, creative chaos.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, Diego, thank you so much for your time. This has been incredible, and I really hope Ramp comes to Japan sometime.
We'll see. I'd love to. I'd love to bring it myself.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, man.